Here's a look at Dioscorea bulbifera, or the air potato vine. And as you can see, it's just making its way up this palm tree that's infested with a bunch of other stuff, ferns. I don't see any philodendron. Yeah, there's philodendron growing on it too, so it's got all kinds of weeds. But for now, we're looking at this, the air potato vine. It's in a Dioscoreaceae family, and that's a rather large family. I only know one or two genera that are in that family, so that one's kind of a mystery to me, but it's a large family. And what I'll do is I've got some close-ups that we can look at of leaves and bulbils and other things. What's interesting about this, and I forget where I read this, it was maybe in an old book about the history of the county I live in, but they said that this plant was introduced in 1905 to Florida to quote-unquote suppress the native vegetation. So that conquering mentality that they had back then. So anyway, now it's a noxious weed in Florida, and I'll go over and we'll look at some stuff close up. One quick note before we go look at the leaf details. And this plant, the potatoes that it produces are not edible. Safe to say they're toxic or poisonous. They contain a steroid called diosgenin, and I may not have said that right, but anyway, it's not good for you. So you can do some more research on your own about that. But I thought I'd note that these wild Florida naturalized air potatoes are not edible. So here's a little closer look at the vine itself. There's a section of vine. There's an emerging or newly formed bulbil that's attached itself kind of at the base of that stem of that leaf. There's the back side and front side of the leaves. And here's a couple of bulbils that I pulled out of the ground. They also, they're a perennial vine, and they have tubers that grow in the ground too. It's the yam family, so they have tubers. I couldn't find any. I was running around with a shovel for a minute or two before I started this. And it's interesting, there's a couple of bites out of this leaf. Last year they turned out the leaf beetle or air potato beetle, Liliaceris cheni, I believe. It did a good job cutting holes in leaves and eating a lot of stuff, but it certainly didn't set this weed back any. So, and I've seen hardly any evidence of their being out there this year. I guess they just didn't release them, they being the IFAS people. So I'm not sure. I haven't run into anybody that would know anything about that. So if you know anything, I'd love to hear why 2016 was a beetle-free year or so. And there's a pair of hand snips for scale. So anyway, Dioscorea bulbifera, a couple different parts of the plant, and as you saw earlier, it was doing its thing on that palm tree.